The clinking of silverware against porcelain was the only sound punctuating the thick, suffocating silence between us. It was our 10th anniversary, a night that was supposed to be filled with nostalgic laughter and champagne toasts to the future. Instead, I was watching my wife, Chloe, fall in love with our server. His name was Leo, according to the little silver tag on his crisp white shirt. He was young, probably early 20s, with that easy charm and a smile that seemed to be reserved exclusively for her. I watched as he refilled her water glass, his knuckles brushing hers for a fraction of a second too long. Chloe didn't pull away. Instead, she tilted her head, her own smile a brilliant, dazzling thing that I hadn't seen directed at me in months. "Everything to your liking?" Leo asked, his voice a low, smooth hum. His eyes, however, weren't on the food. They were locked on Chloe. "It's perfect, Leo, thank you," she'd replied, her voice breathy. "You're taking such good care of us." Us. The word felt like a lie. He wasn't taking care of us, he was orbiting her, and she was basking in the gravitational pull. I tried to catch her eye, to send a silent message, "What is going on?" telegraph. But she was a closed circuit. Her and Leo, sharing inside jokes about the wine selection and laughing at things that weren't remotely funny. I felt like a spectator at my own marriage. I cleared my throat. "The steak is great," I offered, my voice sounding unnaturally loud, cooked just right. Leo glanced at me for the first time, a flicker of acknowledgement, before his attention snapped back to Chloe. "Only the best for the lady," he said with a wink. My fork clattered onto my plate. The sound was sharp, violent. Chloe finally looked at me, a flash of annoyance in her eyes. "Mark, are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said through gritted teeth, just enjoying the show. The barb landed. A blush crept up her neck, but it looked more like anger than embarrassment. Leo, oblivious or just brazen, chose that moment to lean in close to her, ostensibly to clear a bread plate. He whispered something in her ear, and she let out a quiet, throaty laugh. It was a laugh I used to cherish, a sound that meant she was truly, unguardedly happy. Hearing it directed at him felt like a physical blow. I couldn't take it anymore. I threw my napkin on the table. "I'm going to get some air." Chloe's expression hardened. The warmth she'd shown Leo vanished, replaced by a cold, dismissive mask. "Don't make a scene, Mark." "I'm not making a scene," I hissed back, keeping my voice low. "But this is ridiculous, Chloe. What is going on with you and this kid?" Her eyes narrowed into dangerous slits. She leaned across the table, her voice a venomous whisper that cut me deeper than any shout could have come. "We will discuss this later. We'll discuss this later." It wasn't a promise. It was a threat. It was the verbal equivalent of a door slamming in my face.
It meant, "You are overreacting. Your feelings are invalid, and how dare you question me?" It sent me over the edge. The carefully constructed dam of my composure didn't just crack, it exploded. The drive home was a blur of red taillights and a cold knot of dread in my stomach. Chloe sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, a wall of ice between us. The silence was heavier than ever, filled with unspoken accusations. I replayed every lingering glance, every casual touch, every shared laugh. Was this new? Had I been blind? How many other Leos had there been? When we got home, the dam broke. "So, are we going to discuss this later now?" I asked, my voice dripping with sarcasm as I tossed my keys onto the counter. She sighed, kicking off her heels. "There's nothing to discuss. You were jealous and possessive over a 20-year-old waiter. It was embarrassing." "Embarrassing?" I scoffed, my voice rising. "You were hanging on his every word. You were touching him, laughing with him. You looked at him the way you used to look at me, Chloe, on our 10th anniversary. "Oh, stop being so dramatic," she shot back, turning to face me, her arms crossed. "He was being friendly. It's his job to be charming. I'm sorry I didn't sit there looking miserable like you." The gaslighting was masterful. She twisted my genuine hurt into a character flaw, painting me as the paranoid, controlling husband. For a second, I almost believed her. Maybe I was overreacting. But then I remembered her face, the genuine, unadulterated joy she had in his presence, and the cold dismissal she had for mine. And that phrase, "We'll discuss this later." "No," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "This is more than that. I'm not stupid, Chloe." She rolled her eyes and started walking towards the bedroom. "I'm not having this conversation. I'm tired." Something in me snapped. I grabbed her arm. Not hard, but enough to stop her. "Don't you walk away from me. Not tonight." Her eyes blazed with a fury I'd never seen before. "Let go of me, Mark." "Tell me what's going on," I pleaded, my anger giving way to a desperate need for the truth, no matter how ugly. "Are you seeing him? Is that it? Just tell me." She stared at me for a long moment, a storm of emotions warring in her expression. Then her shoulders slumped into feet. Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't tears of guilt. They were tears of something else. Resignation. Sorrow. "It's not what you think," she whispered, her voice cracking. "It's so much more complicated." She pulled away and walked over to the bookshelf, her movement slow and heavy. She reached behind a row of photo albums and pulled out a small, worn, leather-bound box. I had never seen it before. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of impending doom. She opened the box and took out a faded photograph. She held it out to me, her hand trembling. I took it, my eyes scanning the image.
It was a picture of a smiling woman holding a little boy, no older than 4 or 5. The boy had the same dark, curly hair and the same bright, captivating smile as Leo. I looked up at her, my mind a complete blank. Who is this? Chloe took a shuddering breath. That's Leo, and his mother. The floor seemed to drop out from under me. His mother? What does this have to do with anything? Is he an old friend? An ex? My mind scrambled for a logical explanation, anything other than the one that was slowly, horrifically dawning on me. Leo is my brother, she said, the words falling like stones into the silence of the room. I stared at her, uncomprehending. Your brother? Chloe, you're an only child. I've known your parents for 15 years. My half-brother, she corrected, tears now streaming freely down her face. My father had an affair, a long time ago. Leo was the result. My mother found out, and my father, he chose us. He cut them out completely, paid them off to disappear. I was sworn to secrecy. We were never, ever to speak of it. I sank onto the couch, the photograph still clutched in my hand. The world was tilting on its axis. I don't understand. Why now? How did you even find him? He found me, she said, her voice barely a whisper. About a year ago. His mother passed away, and he had nothing. He found a letter she'd kept from my father. He just wanted to know his family. I was so ashamed, Mark. Ashamed of my father, of what our family did to him. I couldn't tell my parents, and I couldn't tell you. I was afraid you'd see my family for the broken, awful people we really are. The pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. The secret meetings she'd chalked up to drinks with the girls, the mysterious cash withdrawals from our account. The over-the-top affection at the restaurant wasn't flirting. It was a desperate, clumsy attempt to be the big sister she never got to be, to pour a lifetime of love and guilt into a few stolen hours. So you've been helping him? I asked, my voice hollow. She nodded, unable to meet my gaze. He was struggling. He'd been in and out of foster care. I helped him get the apartment, get the job at that restaurant so I could see him without raising suspicion. I was just trying to fix it, to make up for what my family did. A wave of relief washed over me, so potent it almost buckled my knees. She wasn't cheating. She wasn't in love with another man. But the relief was immediately followed by a new, colder, and somehow deeper pain. The affair I had imagined would have been a betrayal of our vows. This was a betrayal of our entire life. For a year, she had carried this monumental secret. She had lied, consistently and without hesitation. She had built a second life that I had no part in. Why couldn't you tell me, Chloe? I asked, the question laced with an anguish that surprised me. Why didn't you trust me? After 10 years, did you really think I would judge you for your father's mistakes?
It wasn't just that, she cried, her defensiveness returning. It was my secret to keep, my shame. I didn't want to poison our life with my family's filth. Our life is already poisoned, I said, the words tasting like ash. You poisoned it with lies. You made me feel crazy tonight. You let me believe you were cheating on me on our anniversary. You looked me in the eye and chose your secret over my pain, over us. The truth of my words hung in the air between us, heavy and immutable. The image of another man was gone, but it was replaced by something far more damaging, the gaping chasm of her distrust. We stood there, on opposite sides of the room, separated by more than just a few feet of carpet. We were separated by a year of deception. I looked at the woman I had built my life with, and for the first time, she felt like a stranger. The immediate, fiery threat of infidelity was gone, but the foundation of our marriage, the bedrock of trust and partnership, had been pulverized into dust. "We'll discuss this later," I whispered, throwing her own words back at her. But we both knew what it meant this time. It wasn't a dismissal. It was an epitaph.